Anna De Castro, Sheffield 408. I'm thrilled to see that the House of Bishops have declared their desire for the discernment process to be guided by scripture, tradition, reason and theology as we have received it. And for the sake of human flourishing in the context of today, I want this too, obviously. This is profoundly not what I see in this motion as a whole, though. I welcome the endorsement of the historical biblical doctrine of marriage, and yet there is a deafening silence around the place of sex and sexual intimacy. We have been told that we will receive this information in the pastoral guidance, which is yet to be drafted. But how can we vote in favour of a motion when we don't have clarity on these issues in the pastoral guidance? Nor do we have any assurance around the responsibility of our ministers to shape their lives around the Church of England's professed and preached doctrines. I am a minister to children and young people. They should expect me to live my life in accordance with the doctrine I preach and profess. This amendment provides the motion as a whole with more integrity. My particular concern is with how this motion affects the Church's mission to grow younger. I want to speak against the idea that a motion like this will somehow entice young people into our churches. This is simply not true. Across the board, there is an enormous amount that needs to be invested into reaching young people. But the vast majority of our young people are worshipping in churches who are not seeking to revise the Church's doctrine of marriage. The data is there for you to see. It's a myth that these churches are not teaching about God's design for sex and marriage, and that somehow these young people don't know or don't agree with what they're a part of. I can personally testify that we are and that they do. The ambitious mission of the Church to double the number of young people worshipping in the Church of England by 2030 is totally wonderful. Yes, please, I'm in, sign me up. But this motion is detrimental to this goal without amendments like the one Ms. Bogues has provided us with. Children and young people prize and value authenticity and integrity, and they need to be inspired by leaders who they can trust, not least in the issues of sexual ethics. They don't need a church who's willing to be swayed by the world's constantly shifting and changing voice on these issues. Children and young people are on the front line in mission and evangelism and are regularly receiving pressure from outside the church for that, counting the cost for following Christ. They don't now need to receive pressure from within the church too. They need to feel inspired and supported by the most senior leaders of our church, watching them display integrity when it comes to living out the church's doctrine on sex and marriage. Please vote in favour for this amendment.